Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another Battle to the Death for you. This is one you guys have asked about a whole lot. I know sometimes I say you guys have asked for them, and really only 2 or 3 people have asked for them, and I just wanted to do it. But no, this is one that legitimately, every time I show either of these knives, since this one came out, you guys asked for it. So here we go. We have the Hinderer Half-Track Gen 2 versus the new Hinderer Eklipse 3-inch. This is going to be a rambly one, I'm going to say, because first of all, the half-track comes in a bunch of different versions. The version we're going to have here is the 20 CV full titanium USA made blade exclusive version. I know there's like one available still on their website that's anodized and stuff. It's quite a bit more expensive than this Eklipse that we're using, but it's the one that I have, so that's what we're going to go with. But I'm going to talk a bit more about the other versions and what the differences would be. The Eklipse is brand new. Right now it just comes in this G10, a few different colors. This happens to be, obviously, you guys have eyes. It's the OD green version, and it just comes in this Spanto blade. So we're going to compare Spanto to Spanto. If you want to get a half-track in Spanto, though, pretty hard to find, but when we get to that blade section, it wouldn't have mattered what the grind is, because the issue I have has nothing to do with the grind. So have I over-explained this enough for you? I think I have. Let's get into how these things work. We have 7 categories: design and aesthetics, quality, blade, ergonomics, carry, deployment, and value. And then at the end, we're going to add them up and we're going to pick a winner. So here we go. Let's do some specs before we get too much farther. We will start out with the half-track. You have an overall length of 6.6 inches, blade length of 2.7 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.16 inches, handle thickness of 0.52 inches, and a weight of, this one is 4.5 ounces because it's full titanium. The ones with the G10, which are more comparable to the Eklipse that I just showed you, are 4.1 ounces. Now, slightly larger, as you could see a moment ago, with the Eklipse, you have an overall length of 7.5 inches, a blade length, as the name would indicate, of 3 inches, blade thickness of 0.14 inches, and a handle thickness of 0.5 inches, and a weight of 4.2 ounces. Now, let's get into the categories here. The first one is really hard. It's the hardest one, and it's definitely the one that is the most subjective. So I like to get that out of the way first, so you can post your angry, disagreeing comments down below. Design and aesthetics. I like the look of the Eklipse, but I just always really like the look of the half-track and the full-track. This whole kind of design language that they do, I really like it. If you were to get one in G10, obviously this part here, where you got these milling lines here, it would be G10. It's a much more aggressive G10. I don't like the look of that as much. It's more like what you see on the XM18s and things like that. The XM18 is probably a more common knife, so if you've seen one of those, still titanium on the lock side. But I don't know. I just like the overall shape of it. It just looks like it's very appropriately named half-track, and it looks like a little tank. And I don't know, I just kind of like the way it looks. I don't really have anything against the way that the Eklipse looks, but I like the look of this 3-inch Eklipse better than the full-size one. But I just like the half-track just a bit more. I just think it's kind of cooler looking. I don't really know. Again, it's a totally subjective thing, but that's where I'm going to go. Quality-wise, both made by the same company, both made by Hinderer. Both of these are fairly recent. I want to say that this USA made blade exclusive half-track was, I'm taking a wild guess here, 6 months old, something around there, not too long ago. But the Eklipse 3-inch is their newest knife, and it does just show a little bit more evolution in their quality. All the screws are domed. It's just little tiny things like that where this does feel just a bit more, I'm not going to say better finished, because that's not accurate. It's just a bit more refined, maybe, I guess is the word I'm looking for, with the domed screws and all that stuff. So I'm going to say very narrowly in quality, I'm going to give it to the Eklipse 3-inch. And I think it's just because it's newer, and that's just stuff that they're doing now. If there's a half-track Gen 3, I'm sure it will have all this stuff on it. But currently, I would say just ever so narrowly, I would give the quality to the Eklipse. The blade. Again, half track's available in a few different other blade versions. As I said, this is the Spanto. This is a Spanto. So this is 20 CV, by the way, versus S35VN. 20 CV is sometimes half tracks are 20 CV, sometimes they're S35VN. So I'm not really going to complain about the steel either way. We're just going to call that a wash. Both pretty similar thickness behind the edge. I'm going to give the win again to the Eclipse just because I carry this a lot, and there are occasional, not often, but occasional times, if this is the only knife that I have in my pocket, I wish the blade was a bit longer, just for a regular carry only one knife EDC. This is a small knife. You could call it a backup knife, but man, you must be pretty hardcore if that's your backup knife, because this is a pretty thick, heavy, knife to stick in your pocket to be a backup. So I'm going to have to say, for just general EDC, I'm only carrying one knife, and I have been carrying this only recently because I'm doing that one knife for 7 days challenge, and this is the one that I chose. This is great for EDC stuff. I've never felt like I needed more blade using this for the kind of stuff that I do. There has been a time or two that I wished I had more than the half track had. So I have to give it to the Eclipse for that. It's just a longer blade. It's just a much more, you have a lot more cutting edge, and it really works out a lot better for me. Ergonomically, this one I was surprised, because when I first grabbed the Eclipse, one of the first things I liked about it was that it's got more handle. And I thought, oh man, this is just, I can get my whole hand on it. This is great. I like this better than the half track. But then going back to do this review and grabbing the half track again, I choke up on it most of the time I use it. And when you're choked up on the half track, it's really good. It's just really good. Now, I will say, probably if it had the G10 on it, I might not like it as much, but I can only go by this one that I have. It's the only half track I've ever held, and going by that, I have to give it to the half track. I'm really surprised by that, because when I first took the Eclipse out of the box, that was one of the first things I liked was the ergos, because the ergos on it are great. Everything's really nicely rounded off, more so than it is on the half track, but there's just something about the way the half track fits my skinny fingers, long but skinny fingers, that I just really, really like. And that's why I prefer over the XM18 3-inch too. I prefer both of these over the XM18 3-inch. We'll get some more on that in the conclusions, but yeah, I gotta go with the half track on it. Carry, this one's really not that close. They both aren't horrible as far as how much sticks out or anything like that, but just, I don't know, I think it's just because the Eclipse is so much narrower at the top. So much easier to get your hand in and out of the pocket with the Eclipse than it is with the half track. The half track is, for the size knife that it is, I oftentimes on here will say, oh, it's a big knife, but it feels smaller in the pocket. This is a small knife that feels larger in the pocket. It can really dominate a pocket for how small it is, where I've never felt that way with the Eclipse. The Eclipse just felt like any other 3-inch knife, any other average 3-inch knife that I carry. Even though it is a pretty big, beefy knife, it just didn't feel like it. Where the half track, definitely, weight is fine. I don't really mind the weight or anything. It's just getting your hand past it in the pocket. I think it's because it's so thick here at the top. You definitely really notice the half track a lot more. I apologize. It sounds like I have a fan that's about ready to die over in the corner. We'll have to deal with that later. Deployment. Both of these run on the tri-way pivot. So you can run it on phosphor bronze washers. You can run it on the Teflon washers, which was the old Hinderer tradition, or you can run it on ball bearings. Both of these are currently running on ball bearings, and that is the vast majority of what they will always run on. I just like the ball bearings. They have pretty good action. They run really smooth. But I have noticed I got to give the win to the half track in this. And it's not just because this is more broken in. The detent's a little stiff on this Eclipse. It's a loaner for right now, so I have not taken it apart to try and dial that detent out a little bit. But I never had to do that at all with the half track. The detent was perfect, and that's really the only difference. And this is just a bit more drop shutty. I don't know why that would be. I can't think of any reason for why that would be. This is a full frame lock. where this is what they call the heavy liner lock. That doesn't really matter either way to me. They did do a really good job at cutting out, so it's still easy to get your finger on the lock bar and all that stuff. So action is very similar between the two, but I'm just going to give a slight win to the half track just because the detent was better out of the box. Maybe I could even just put that in the quality section. I don't know, but I want to pick some winner for this category, so I'm going to say half track. And it's pretty impressive that for such a short blade, thick blade stock as you saw in the stats, but still that just for such a short blade, it's so drop shutty. Like that's pretty darn impressive. I have taken this one apart and lubed it. I have not taken the Eclipse apart, but it's that detent thing. I'm just going to give a very slight win to the half track on that. Value. You're looking at $375 as this is configured, which is the only configuration, there is at the moment. $425 for a half track, and in the G10. This one was $585 in the full titanium and the 20 CV Spanto, but the S35 VN G10 versions are like the $425, so a little bit more. Not really sure why that is. Maybe that will change when the next generation comes out. But you're getting, it's $50, yeah, but I don't know, this is a frame lock. I don't know. I went back and forth on this a million times. Some people may say it's the Eclipse. Some people may say, it's the half track. I'm going to call that one a tie. I hate to do that because that means we wind up with a tie as far as the scores go. 3-3 with one tie out of the 7. But I will not let it rest at a tie. I will make judge's decision that for reasons that I can't quite articulate, I think I prefer the half track. Not by much. It's like by this much. And I need to quantify that a little bit, saying as far as having a smaller Hinderer, I prefer the half track over the Eclipse. But, and this is probably going to make no sense, and I hope it does, I prefer, as I said, I prefer both of these to the XM18 3-inch. I'm not a big fan of the XM18 3-inch. I had one. I really liked it at first, and and I think I gave it a very positive review, but the shine wore off pretty quick. It didn't really fit my hand great. I have held a 3.5-inch XM18. I think if I was shopping for a larger Hinderer, I would probably pick the Eclipse 3-inch over the XM18 3.5, which I know makes no sense because it's still only a 3-inch knife, but it feels bigger than a 3-inch knife, and it's all that I need. So I still love the Eclipse 3-inch. I'm still, if I don't buy this one, I'm gonna buy another one. But I think comparing these two back to back, if I only could have one Hinderer, it would be a half track. If I'm going to have two Hinderers, it would be both of these. Does that make any sense? Did I ramble enough to get to that point? I don't know. I'm kind of a mush mouth tonight, but this is a really tough review for me to do because I really like both of these a whole lot. But thank you very much to USA Made Blade for providing both of these. They loaned me this one, and then I've had this one for a while. I got from them, obviously, because it's the only place you can get it. Go check them out for all your Hinderer needs, usamadeblade.com. I will link to them down below and all that good stuff. I hope you guys have enjoyed this admittedly nonsensical, rambly comparison. End of the matter is, between these two, I'd pick the half track. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.